a lot of excitement, a lot of trying VR there, which is great. And as that people make their way over to the seats, we don't want to disrupt the presentations with demo chatter. And we are about to begin. So welcome to SVVR Meetup number 21. Woo! Very excited. We have a few presentations I'll be doing today. Then after the presentations, there'll be some community announcements, and after that, there'll just be kind of open season on the demos that'll be around the room until 10 p.m. So it's great. We do want to thank Samsung for being so gracious being our host here. It's fantastic. So give them a round of applause. Excellent. So on the docket today, we have Holger from Cyberith. That's a very, very cool company doing some omni treadmill stuff. We have Jeff from Boost BC. Me, myself, and Gavin from AltspaceVR. We have some things to announce about our SDK. Then we'll have some announcements from Samsung about the Gear VR framework updates and some updates about their developer program. So that'll be exciting to hear about as well. So here we go. We're just all ready to go. Is Holger actually here? There we go. There he is. Very good. So let's, while Holger gets set up and gets his presentation ready, this is the portion where we normally ask Bruce anything. I'm Bruce. I didn't introduce myself before. Hi. Bruce Wood. I'm Developer Relations at AltspaceVR, also known as Cyberith Bruce, VR evangelist, and somewhat of a celebrity that people have told me. Whatever. But anyway, while Holger's getting set up, do we have any questions about anything that's going on in VR? About the Vive, Jeff Kit, tried that, Oculus Touch, the controllers maybe? About the Dactyl Nightmare picture that Palmer put out today?
Oh yeah, what do you think of that? Yeah, this one.
Want to see that? So beautiful. I was just crying in tear. It's just wonderful. Palmer Lucky is just a beautiful representation of everything that is VR nerd. And I could not be happier about it. Awesome. No questions? Everyone's just ready to go. All right, fine. Let's go, Holger. Take it away, man. Let's give him one round of applause.
Hi, my name is Holger Hager. I'm co-founder of Cyberith. First of all, I would like to thank SVVR for hosting this great event. I want to thank Bruce for the introduction. Also, I want to thank Carl for giving us the opportunity to give a short speech today. And actually, I would like to thank the whole Silicon Valley virtual reality community. We founded our company a couple of years ago in Austria, where we are basically the only virtual reality company. Now, when we came here, it's great. We find a lot of like-minded people here. It's a community which is very active. You can talk with a lot of people, and it's just great being part of the Silicon Valley virtual reality. This is part of why we decided we'll be present in Silicon Valley permanently. Let's have a look at virtual reality input solutions. We use our hands regularly. It's our most natural thing to interact with our environment. I think most of you, or almost every one of you, knows about the technologies which are in development or already available in this field. Today, and what we are focusing on, is the movement side of virtual reality. How to move around virtual space. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, we've been up to Bellevue. We've met with Valve, and we tried the setup there, which is awesome technology. Lighthouse is really great, and the feeling of presence is awesome. But still, with that technology, the size of the virtual space you can explore is limited. And it's limited by the size of the real installation. And so the space requirement you have for the installation is at least as large as the virtual space you want to be able to explore. We at Cyberith, we want to unlimit virtual space. We want the user to be able to move through infinite virtual spaces without restricting the user to use a controller for movement. This is our first solution we did for this approach. It's the virtualizer, and this video just gives you a short impression about the freedom of movement you can do in the device. It's crouch, jump, even to sit down, and you can of course run and walk in infinite virtual spaces. The virtualizer has a sensor system that is fully integrated in the device and works optimally. There are sensors in the ground floor that track your feet movement. There are sensors in the ring for your orientation, as well as a height measurement system. All the sensors deliver absolute sensor data, so there is no drift, which is very important for ongoing virtual reality experiences, so that you don't need to recalibrate your system. Furthermore, our sensors are not sensitive to light influences, magnetic influences, or influences that come. The functions we send, this is mainly a topic for developers, and I thought SVVR, it's a lot of developers here, might be interested in this. Is what we use is the orientation of the user, which we use for making the user able to decouple the direction of movement from the direction of sight. So you can walk in one direction while looking around like in real life. The second function we're sending is the height of the user, which is required for crouching and jumping. We send the speed of feet movement, which is necessary to allow for analog and stepless movement speeds in the application. And we send the direction of feet movement, which enables to detect backwards walking and straighting. Our experiments, our research in the last 2 years has led to a very exciting other project we are currently working on. It's like a virtualizer, it's addressing movement in virtual reality, and it's directly addressing the problem of motion sickness. This solution, which is currently in a testing and development phase, is an entry-level solution. We want to address a wide audience in the consumer market. And as this is in the developing and testing phase, we are really happy to keep you updated. Furthermore, after our successful Kickstarter campaign last year, 1 year ago, we have a round to be able to expand our what we are doing and to move forward very quickly with both projects. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, let's want to do questions. Maybe we'll go with 3 max. Or
is there somewhere I can try the virtualizer?
Oh, of course. So we have currently an office in Redwood City and the GSV labs. And just approach me afterwards. Also developers, if you want to know more about the SDK, just talk with me afterwards and we can set meetings. We are here now. And so there is the possibility to talk and to test the setup.
questions?
So, your system, your material cost might be a little bit higher than your computer or other type of movement tracking devices. Your material cost for the system will be a little bit higher because of the poles and
so the virtualizer is a higher-end solution, that's right. It's for more professional applications, and of course, it's not like entry-level virtual reality like mobile gaming, but this is what we are addressing with the second project within the pipeline.
And also, some of your sensing is done by mechanical part, is it?
All the sensors are optic.
Optic?
All optic sensors are optic. What we're doing is we have overshoes, which you wear just over your shoes, and the surface that is from the low friction material, and so your feet lie back on the surface. We are working together with an institute and research institute in Europe for optimizing the walking the device. It's Flynn.
Thank you.
If you're not further questions, please see Holger after the presentations. Definitely follow up. It's very exciting stuff. Been to Cyberith and it's pretty sweet. Very, very good. Next up, we have Jeff Wasson from Boost VC. So we're going to allow Jeff to get all set up. Boost VC is going to be talking about some of their lessons learned as they've been investing in VR companies. They have currently 18 VR investments under their belt, so it's definitely been very busy, which is very cool. So while Jeff is getting set up, questions, VR questions. You're teaming with them. I can see it in your eyes. No one. Unbelievable. This was so successful a few meetups ago. Mark, what's up, dude? Out of beta? Gmail's been in beta how long? It just got out. So Altspace, I think will be in beta about the same. I don't know. Dropping the beta tag. I think this is one of the things I feel about Altspace in general. We've really kind of taken a web kind of mentality about Altspace. We're just constantly updating all the time. Engineers are always busy, so it might never be out of beta. I can't tell you. Don't know. Jen?
What's the baseline video card to run VR?
The baseline video card to run VR. From Oculus, that is the NVIDIA GTX 980. 970. 970. I'm sorry. The 970 is that was the minimum spec, which has been very interesting. A lot of VR developers I've talked to, as well as Allspace, have been dealing with that issue as Oculus has been making changes and additions to their runtime and SDK that actually make older cards and like laptops with Optimus much harder to work around. So yeah, that's kind of a reality. It's kind of interesting. Jeff, ready?
Ready.
All right, let's give a warm round of applause. Let's go.
I'd like to thank Carl and Bruce and the whole SVVR community, as well as Samsung. It's been great to be a part of it. And we'd just like to talk a little bit about Boost and some of the things that we've learned in our endeavor to go into the virtual reality space from an investment perspective. Boost is a seed stage accelerator located in San Mateo. We offer housing, office space, and an investment to companies, relatively small companies, relatively small investment size. That's a 90-day program, and we have mentors and speakers, and we help connect these companies to the broader community and to the investor community that we work with as well. So a little bit about what we've learned over the past few months looking at the space. First, people in virtual reality are extremely smart. And not just regular Silicon Valley smart, but sort of chess master smart. They're doing things and solving problems, and then also putting that inside virtual reality. It's been a pleasure to have been a part of seeing the path that people have taken to get their products where they are. And second, everybody in virtual reality is just extremely nice and happy. And I don't know why that is, but I'd like to see if people agree with me. If anybody's been in another industry prior to being in virtual reality, would you say that people, small companies, big companies, just happy to be doing this? Anybody? No? Well, that's what we found. And it's not just here. Silicon Valley is sort of the epicenter for virtual reality. You will find that people in Los Angeles want to be more involved in virtual reality, but they need the technology that we have here. But it's Canada too. The Canadians, we all know, are very nice, but they're also very involved in virtual reality. Toronto, Vancouver, they've got thriving scenes, as well as Sydney, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, France. It's been really a journey to find out what people are working on a worldwide basis. We're excited to see. What we've learned, we've looked at hundreds of VR companies now, and there are some phenomenal ideas. A lot of them are public, a lot of them are not yet. A lot of the ones that aren't public probably should be because they think it's unique and it's not. And we tell all of our companies that ideas need to become companies. And so the advice is always start building, get it out there, iterate, see what customers want, and try to make it better. Investment. Thanks, Bruce, for leading the charge. I know that it was your first investor meeting when they wrote you the check. And that's great. That's great. We work with a lot of investors to prepare them for virtual reality and the companies that are coming. And what we find is there is a lot of interest in the space. But just like the general consumer, they don't know a lot about it. They haven't necessarily tried it. And it very much is you need to see it to believe it. And so every time we have an opportunity to show anything in virtual reality to the investor set, we try to do it because they are getting excited. They are organizing funds. They are preparing money to invest in this space. So it's coming. Don't know when, but it's coming. We're excited about it. What does success in VR look like? We don't know. I don't think anybody knows yet what success in VR looks like because there just isn't enough data points to see what consumers are going to like, how companies are going to evolve. Platforms aren't yet quite settled. So it's going to be an exciting 6 to 18 months, and we're all going to find out. And a little bit more about the Boost portfolio. We have 18 companies now that we're working with. Our most recent session started Monday. And so we have companies that have come from all over the world. We've got companies out of France and London and Singapore, and they're very excited to be in Silicon Valley. They're very excited to participate in this particular event, and we're excited to have them. A lot of them are here tonight doing demos, and they're all pretty good. So that's it. Thank you.
Let's take a couple questions, max of 3. Let's go. Questions? Yes?
From an investor perspective, what do you think of market fragmentation on the platform between Oculus, Vive, Sony, Microsoft, Google? Good, bad, ugly?
Ugly, but good. I think that there are a number of companies right now that are trying to be platform agnostic, and that's a strategy. There are other companies that are trying to really maximize their product on one particular platform because it needs to be great somewhere rather than good everywhere. I really don't know which strategy is going to win out, but I think that platform wars are they're really just beginning. I don't think that it's settled. We see a lot of HMDs elsewhere that I've never heard of until the last 90 days. So other people are working on hardware. There are a lot of peripherals that are coming out to the market that people haven't seen. So I think it's ugly, but I think that the companies that are building right now in VR are learning and growing with the industry. And whenever it shakes out and settles, those are the companies that are going to be able to thrive. Yeah, I think there are similarities for some companies. Depending on what they're working on. We've got a number of social VR companies. We've got a number of educational VR companies. We've got a few game companies and sort of middleware people that are developing assets for game developers to iterate quicker to get their games to market. So they do face similar challenges, and it's not just from a technical standpoint, but from a business standpoint. So they can often serve as an extended R&D team for each other.
Since nobody knows when and where the revenue will come from, what's your advice on giving investors the financial side?
It's a good question. Since nobody knows when and where revenue will come from, what's the advice? The advice is stay alive. That's it. We tell our companies that it's not a unicorn, it's not a thunder lizard or a black swan. Get cockroach. Don't die. Just stay alive and be there when the dam breaks and
Nice. Thank you.
No question for Jeff. Make sure to follow up with him. It's a very cool guy. A lot of good stuff. A lot of very cool companies doing very exciting and innovative things under his portfolio. So definitely be keeping a close eye on Bruce. All right. So next up, we actually have AltspaceVR. So it'll be myself and Director of Engineering Gavin. He's on his way up right now. So we're going to get that set up. So that'll be very cool. We're going to actually be talking about our SDK, some of the new things that will be happening with that SDK. So it's, I guess, while Gavin gets it up, I'm actually going to just start talking about it a little bit. So for those of you that might not have tried AltspaceVR before, we're a shared VR platform for people that hang out together in virtual reality, talk to each other, hang out, enjoy each other's company. So we established kind of this layer of sharing the same space, and then after we establish that, it feels natural to communicate with positional sound and all of that stuff. What do we do? So our first steps are the 2D web, make it really, really easy to share 2D web with other people that are in the same space. So you have a private browser that you can see, you click, and then that whatever you were looking at is plastered on a big wall for everyone to see. And out in the back of the room, there's a projector up where there's a few people watching the live stream of this event right now, actually from all over the country or world, perhaps, which is cool. So the 2D web is great, and there's a lot of flexibility there from presentations to watching Netflix together. But what we're really been excited about is the 3D web. Taking 3D web standards like Groove.js, using JavaScript, and instead of rendering it on a 2D flat plane of a web page, actually rendering it in 3D in VR and synchronizing it so everyone's seeing the same thing. So that is a big part of what we've been doing for Altspace, and we're happy to announce that the SDK is going to be publicly available on the 25th of this month, so you'll be able to dig in. So that's very exciting, and we'll have something else to announce, but first I'm going to turn it over to Gavin. This is actually AltspaceVR running in the 2D client right here, and he's going to give this presentation from the 2D version of Altspace. So Gavin, one round of applause.
Hi there. So today I'm going to give you sort of a brief walkthrough of what our SDK is, how it works, what sort of things you can build with it. And to tell you a little bit about the 3 things about it that I'm super excited about. So, but first of all, the way that it works is all these applications and games are essentially just web pages. So they're HTML5 web pages that are running a open source JavaScript library called 3JS. So 3JS is essentially a rendering library that supports we have some friends here, apparently. So, one of my favorite things about Altspace is it makes you laugh a lot. So 3JS, it's a rendering library. It's one of the most popular ones out there. There's a number of live games that are using it, and if you combine that with some of the new JavaScript APIs that we've added, you can basically allow 3JS content to render sort of holographic content inside of Altspace. So as I said, you can build applications, games. 2 things that are actually pretty interesting in VR are toys and experiences. You'll see these sometimes in Chrome experiments, but essentially having things that don't necessarily have win conditions, but you can sort of play with bouncy balls or have bubbles and sort of interesting sort of toys to play with in VR. Things like documents you can add interactive elements to them, and I'm really excited about educational course material using this. So when would you want to use this? So there's 3 sort of main reasons why you want to use the Web SDK versus doing sort of a native VR application. The first of all is if you want to leverage some of the great things that the web does. So the web is very great for like fast iteration cycles, connecting to external services. The second is basically if you want to leverage Altspace itself. So Altspace comes with voice over IP. You can basically have all your avatars and environments provided for you. And it allows you to essentially very rapidly iterate on virtual reality experiences that you can think of these, we like thinking of them as holographic apps because they work best when they're sort of the size of a room or smaller. You're sort of walking around them, you're part of them. They're not really taking over all of your perception like most VR apps would, but they're sort of in front of you, you can play with them like this. So let's talk a little bit about what it means to be powered by the web here. So if any of you have been sort of web developers back in the day, you know that the web used to not be a tremendously fun place to develop. But as of the last 5 years or so, it's really become my favorite place to write code. When you start looking at things like just little tiny live reload scripts where like as you're writing JavaScript code, the page is refreshing over on the right side of your screen, it becomes this magical experience where you don't have to compile things, and it just changes as you type, which is really awesome. When you're writing these holographic web apps for AltspaceVR, it's essentially running on Chrome. Technically it's Chromium, it's an open source version of it, but you can think about writing your code just for Chrome. Your apps will work in other browsers. They will work in Chrome if you use a WebGL renderer. They will work in IE if you use a WebGL renderer these days. But you don't really have to worry about it if you're just exclusively if you're making apps where you really only care about working in AltspaceVR, you're writing to Chrome. And we're going to continue having some fun. People, it's part of the AltspaceVR experience. The Chrome V8 engine is extremely performant. You can do absolutely insane things. How am I doing that? You can do things like compiling C++ code to JavaScript and getting like at the best about half native performance. You can basically get blazing fast performance out of these apps while also still having them secure. So they're sandboxed when they're running as web pages, which is awesome because there's not very many places you can go right now where you can try out new VR experiences without downloading full applications that who knows what they have. They have viruses and whatnot, you're just downloading EXEs. But here it's like a web page, you don't have to worry about going to websites. So when you're actually building this stuff, what does it look like? So you're coding using Tree.js. So there's tons of examples online, and the best thing is that it only takes a couple lines to take these existing examples and make them work in AltspaceVR. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and I'm going to walk over here and show you guys what one of these looks like real fast, just so you know a little bit more about what I'm talking about. This is one of my favorites. It's called Flappy Dragon. So, if any of you have heard of a popular mobile game that goes by a sort of similar name, this is essentially that, but it's a holographic application. So this little dragon who's flying around here, your goal is to allow him to jump through these logs without having him hit anything. So, let's see if I can play this on stage here. Oh. Yeah. So, essentially this is a very simple game that somebody created, I think, a week or two. And it's multiplayer. So if anybody was in here with me, which they are, let's see if you can hear me. You might actually be able to hear me. If you can raise and lower, if he clicks on those logs, you can raise and lower them. And that actually makes it harder for me to play the game if he does that. But this is what a holographic application looks like in AltspaceVR. But we built a lot of these in weekend hackathons, so you can absolutely build these games in a matter of days. When you're doing this, you have access to all the powerful APIs that exist in the modern web browser. Crazy things like web audio, web workers allows you to do multi-threaded stuff on the web. You have WebSockets for network communication. Get user media lets you get like access to webcams and microphones and all this kind of stuff. It's just there's a world of things that you can engage with here that are standardized and out there already. Same thing with open source libraries. These are just a few of the ones that we're using in here. GSAP is an animation library. Firebase we use for some synchronization stuff. Reveal.js is actually one I wrote this presentation in. So this is a JavaScript presentation framework, which allows us to do some really cool things I'll show you in a second. This is also the place that you want to be writing apps if you want. So a lot of the VR development right now is for games, and that's fantastic. And you can make great games in here. But if you want to look at other applications, a lot of the time you're going to be calling out to external services. You want to have things like Twitter integration. You want to be able to access information on Wikipedia. Those are the sorts of services you can do when you're developing virtual reality web apps. And this is a huge point here. So it's free and open. You make whatever you want, and you host it wherever you want. If you make something, you can pull it up and share it with somebody in AltspaceVR. We are not gatekeepers for this. There's a ton of VR app stores that are being developed right now. This is not that. This is, you build it, it's a web page, you can see it in AltspaceVR. So, actually, this presentation is running on my website. It's gavinwilhite.com, and it is an AltspaceVR app. And so, if I had a dozen lines of JavaScript to the next slide here, what we get is a floating cube. So this is a holographic cube in my presentation. Let me put down the microphone for 1 second. So this cube is completely depth-stored. It's a 3D object. We can interact with it just like any other 3D object. And it's here in my essentially PowerPoint presentation. So the second point is that this is built for VR, specifically for VR. You will see AltspaceVR running on a ton. But VR is our lead platform, and that's this very APIs that we're presenting here. So the first of all is holographic rendering. So I showed you that thing, in that circle. That circle is actually fun. That's a transparent PNG, so it's basically punching a hole in the website that we're putting that 3D object inside of. But this holographic rendering can be all around you. We have a fun fish demo where you can sort of see the fish floating at you, and that was just an off-the-shelf JavaScript flocking algorithm that we got off of GitHub there. And so the other thing that's fun about this render is sort of in 3JS, we have some semantic information about what we're rendering. So that allows us to do things like have cursor interactions on these objects where we couldn't do that if it was just like Bravo GL or something like that. So one of the things that's really important for VR is unified input. So there's a ton of VR input devices, both sort of new, specifically for VR, and also traditional input devices like mice and trackpads and gamepads and stuff like that. But you don't want to have to worry about what somebody's using when they're interacting with your app. And so what we do is, right now we're doing this ray-based cursor. So essentially what it does is if you sort of imagine a ray emitting from essentially what you're sitting around, your forehead, and it projects outwards. And as you move your mouse around, that ray basically moves around. And any other sort of input device will essentially do that. If you have a motion controller, it'll sort of project from your hand. But it's all basically this ray. And so that when you want to interact, when you want to listen for those events, it's basically like a mouse event surrounding 3D objects. It's very, very simple to do. This is a really funny one because unless you've done a fair amount of web development, this one isn't immediately obvious, but there's no way, if I want to show something that's like exactly 6 millimeters long on your screen, I can't do that. They're like CSS inches and pixels are not actually inches and pixels. But since we have control over all this stuff in AltspaceVR, we've exposed a very simple API where you can basically get a coefficient on what these actually are. So you can draw life-size things, both in 3D and also just for existing 2D websites. So if you're trying to visualize how big a product's going to be when you buy it, or trying to build a room at scale, you can just access this simple API and get real scale units. We have unified avatar data, so this is pretty important. So we can provide you essentially the tracking skeleton that we're getting from any sort of tracking input devices. So we've announced support for Leap and Connect. There's a couple others that we're working on that we'll be announcing soon. But all that data looks the same to you as an application developer, and you can build gestural interfaces, and you can attach holograms to any of those points. So if the demo gods will be nice to us, I can add a little bit more JS to the next page, and see if this works here. So again, that's just a web page. I basically queried AltspaceVR with the tracking skeleton. I parented those letters under my fingers, and now we have a holographic sort of hello sign that I can wave around. So the third thing is that it's natively connected. So we're inside of AltspaceVR, as you guys have been able to tell by the people running around. So what that means is that you can share these things instantly. So they're just URLs. So you can email them to anybody. If you're in AltspaceVR, you can beam them. So I beam this from my personal display to this public display here, so other people can see it. These other people can actually see what slide I'm on when they're running around in here. You can collaborate remotely very easily, and since it's the web, continuous deployment is very easy. You don't have to worry about updates and, is this user out of date? It's just a website, and you can manage your own caching. You get our natural communication. So we have spatialized voice, so your users can talk to each other when they're inside this environment. We spent a lot of time making that very natural. There's no push to talk, and you can just trust that they can communicate while they're using your app. There's also this sort of fun, intuitive matchmaking where normally when you're developing like an online game, you have to worry about lobbies and how people find each other and all this kind of stuff. In Altspace, you just walk up to the person you want to play the game with, and your webpage knows that they're there. And that's how they sort of enter the game together. And then the last thing is that you're part of a growing community. So when you're in Altspace and someone else is there with you, you can just beam an app in front of them and get rapid feedback. You don't have to wait for somebody to like post a review in an app store. You can see how users like your app just by watching them use it and talking to them. We have a pretty awesome international audience, so you get people from all over the world to help talk about your applications. And we're building in a featured gallery so that if people want other folks to see their applications, we'll show that. It's still totally open. You can still host it on your own. But if you want other people to see your applications, send it to us, and we'll put it up on our basically our UI here, and everybody will be able to see it there. So that's our Web SDK, and I'm going to turn it back over to Bruce to talk a little bit more about our developer support.
Thank you, Rubik. That's Rubik. He's part of our road team. He's in France. He's in Altspace hanging out. And it must be way too early. Go to sleep. Go to sleep, dude. Oh my god. Anyway. So we're really happy to announce the release date of the SDK on the 25th of this month. To share a lot of the interesting stuff, some of the new features we've added there. Live running the presentation. But we've got a good influx of funding, and we also want to support the developer community there. So we have a developer initiative program that will be enacting along with that release date, and we're setting aside $150,000 that will be for individuals and small teams to build apps using our web SDK in Altspace. And it's not coming with strings attached or exclusivity or anything like that. We're just really would like you to build stuff, build content with us, build VR for the web. Anything that you build that works with Altspace will also work in a web browser, as Gavin mentioned. So we want to move WebVR forward, and we know there's a lot of enthusiastic and smart people out there that are in this volatile market really looking for a way to get paid to do VR stuff. So we like to contribute in our own way to help that happen. So more details about the process and how to get involved in our program will be coming on the 25th and in the coming weeks. But yeah, if you have some questions, please follow up with me or Gavin, and we'll be happy to answer. So it's a great question, Jess. Uh-oh.
So what you're talking about 3JS is WebGL stuff, so-called VR. So if you guys are interested in learning more about WebGL, I host a Meetup. Go to meetup.com. There's an SVVR group like this. You can just hang out and talk about 3JS and WebGL. There's also a San Francisco group run by my buddy Tony Parisi before. So they're a good resource.
Absolutely. So it's kind of applying the promise of the internet as it originally was, where it's we've been accustomed to it as a set of pages, but now we can look at it as a set of spaces. To where a website actually means an actual site. It's a very exciting time right now to be alive. And it's an exciting time for him too, evidently, in Altspace. Cool. Any other questions before we move on? Here we go. I'm going to take this one and I'll get back to you, Jen. How many users do we have now? So right now, the amount of enthusiasts you can choose is pretty limited, but our beta list is in the thousands. So that's encouraging. I think what we're more bolstered about and encouraged about is that our average session time in AltspaceVR is around 25 minutes, which is for VR applications pretty insane right now. And we actually, one of the web apps that we had was a tabletop D&D gaming app where there's like a board, there's tiles and figurines that you can move around, it's all synced. And we had 4 campaigns, each of them had at least 5 players, and each of them stayed in Altspace for at least 3 hours to do that game. We had a lot of D&D over the weekend, and people are willing to stay in VR, we got really cool content, and that's making us super excited about what we're doing at AltspaceVR. So, we're getting there.
Yeah, so it depends a little bit on the format, but there's going to be a path to import using binary. So we'll be building some, either us or somebody else will be building like an app that makes it super easy and like you just attach your file. But as soon as the SDK is released, there'll definitely be a path forward for the winners about any figured out if you want to. Right, yeah, so the question was about sort of the cursor API. And so, yeah, we basically, we haven't actually submitted the pull request yet, but it piggybacks on top of the event system that 3JS has. We're adding bubbling to that because that doesn't exist right now, but essentially just do an add event listener on like a cursor up or cursor down, cursor move on any of the 3D objects in here or the scene itself, and you'll just get a callback on that whenever somebody clicks on it. So.
One more, sorry, you had yourself, sir.
Do you guys have some kind of system for caching large content locally? Or you guys be downloaded from the web?
That's a great question. The web does have, there are APIs for doing local storage stuff and caching. I haven't actually done too much experimentation with how they work in Altspace, but if that, for the application that you've got, if you're thinking about, or if there's no questions about that, I can certainly answer that. So.
All right, so next we're going to have Samsung come up. All right, excellent. We have Tom from Samsung to give us some updates about things that are going on at Samsung. Very exciting, yes. The Gear VR stuff is definitely popping. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening. More applications on the store all the time. And being able to share VR by just popping a phone into the headset and sharing is pretty cool. While we're getting Tom set up, questions. VR questions. Come on, you curious, smart people, please. Please. Yes. Right now, Altspace is, you can think of it in half game engine and half web browser. So we're running on Unity. Everything we're doing is built in Unity as the game engine side, and then the UI elements, and of course the browser, both 2D and 3D, is our own kind of special blended formula. A little sooner now.
Touch versus Lighthouse, do you feel like that?
Woo! The question finally gets asked. I don't know if there's one I like better. I think there's going to be design considerations and differences for both. I really like the ergonomics of touch. I like that it's giving your finger motions. That's fantastic. Picking up objects felt a little more natural, like I dropped a thing and without thinking to pick it up off the floor and touch demo. That was amazing. But when I tried to pass one thing from my hand to another, the half moon thing that goes around your hand kind of stopped that from happening. A Vive controller, the ergonomics are a little bit different. The final controllers I don't think are out there. The touchpad is amazing. I love touchpads better than the analog sticks on the touch controllers, so the Vive controllers have a really cool advantage for me there. And the ability to put my hands together and feel the touch when I'm passing objects from one hand to the other was nice. All in all, tracking is comparable. The experience is comparable. I think if you're making an experience for both Vive and CD1, that you're going to have to design things differently, for sure, to take those kind of ergonomics into consideration. But they were both excellent, excellent. So, ready? Let's give Tom a warm round of applause.
Hi there, I am Tom Flynn. I am manager here at Samsung. Welcome to Samsung. This is, we're sitting in one of our new buildings here. We were scattered all throughout the Bay Area, and we consolidated all the Samsung research laboratories into these two buildings. And it's really great because this is so much better than our last building that we're in. And you're sitting in our cafeteria, eating our cafeteria food. It's great stuff. And so, yes, welcome. I'm going to talk a little bit today about, some developing for Gear VR. Specifically, I'll talk about the Gear VR framework, and we'll just go from there. So, when developing for the Gear VR, you have a couple of options. You have developing, in Unity, which a lot of people do. They use either Unity or real plugins. They use that, and boom, you're ready to go. familiar with those game engines, and it should be really easy for you. If you have your own game engine or you have your own custom code, your only other option is to dig down C++, write your own OpenGL code, your own OpenGL shaders, and use the Oculus Mobile SDK. There was really no in between until just a couple months ago when we launched the Gear VR framework. So last time Samsung hosted this, back in March 26th, I believe it was, we introduced what we call the Gear VR framework, which is an Android library that, if you're used to working on Android, or used to working in Java, you're not really all that knowledgeable in OpenGL. You just want to take some 3D models that your artist give you, you want to load them in, you want to place them in the scene. Boom, this is the API for you. So this allows you to have some control that you wouldn't have in the game engines. Access to the full suite of Android APIs, and it's higher level than having to dig down into debugging in C++ and the indicator on Android, which would be very difficult. Let's see, did I cover everything here? Pretty much. So there's, as I mentioned, you can load in all these different 3D model formats. We use a third-party library called Asset Importer, which brings me over different file formats. Moving them around the scene, we take care of hair tracking for you, so we read the Oculus sensor and deal with that. We split things into stereo and do the distortion correction for you while you're on a Note 4 or an S6. We take care of all that hard work. We just do the hard work of doing the actual programming of what it is you want to display in VR. So this is a example of the simplest thing you can do in the Gear VR framework, which is essentially just bring up a quad and throw a texture on it. Really doesn't require a lot. In the main program, we just say, get in the main scene, load up a texture, create a scene object, give it some dimensions, say you want to apply that texture to it, put it in the scene somewhere, and then add it. Done. And you got something that's head tracked in VR. Real simple, real fast. So as I mentioned, we open sourced this back in March, early April timeframe, and we've been making a lot of progress. So one of the first things that we've added in that timeframe was we added a monoscopic view. So not everybody has an S6 or a Note 4 to develop on. Well, that makes developing for the VR really difficult, doesn't it? You don't have the device. So we have a sort of limited mode here, which if you have a relatively recent Android phone that can run OpenGL S3, then you can just compile and run Gear VR framework app on your phone. You'll get a single eye view. You won't have stereo, it'll just be a single eye view. It's not distorted or anything else. But it'll give you an idea, okay, it's up and down, it's using the phone sensors, which aren't as good as the Oculus sensor. But you'll get an idea, okay, it's in there, it's loaded, it's working, okay. You'll do with the eye. And it allows you to get up and running if you don't have the hardware immediately. Or if you only have, say, one Note 4 that Gear VR, and you have a bunch of dollars. This allows you to get up and running. We also have added a number of features like cube map support, level decel support, added optimizations like cluster and inclusion culling, added some fancy stuff such as cube map support, multipass support. We've added some convenience things for developers out there. There's a lot of common things people load into any kind of interactives like cubes, spheres, cones, cylinders, blah, blah, blah. We also have some nifty stuff you don't typically have everywhere, such as a web view. We're talking about bringing up Chrome. You can essentially have the Android web view Chrome right there in VR. Same thing with the Android media player. You can bring that up onto as a texture on any object you want, as well as the camera on the back of the phone. We have examples of how to bring these and use those. We've also had some unexpected but very pleasant contributions from third parties. a color company who works on 360 photos and videos. They've been contributing little bits of things here and there because they're like, okay, this does 90% of what I want. I just want this little tweak. And they contribute it and like, hey, yeah, that's not so bad. Great. There we go. Open source. That's awesome. Also, there's somebody else who's been contributing. Probably going to push the name here. It's View Sounds. They're in Japan, and they don't quite know what they're up to, but they've been contributing optimization, so I like them a lot. Also, over the past couple months, we've been visiting various VR hackathons and trying to get people, mostly to get feedback on the UI, on the APIs, to see where we want to improve, make it more user-friendly. Got a few applications out of that. First one is VR Transit, which it takes data from BART and the buses and trains, displays it on a real-time map of San Francisco, and pops it in these little boxes moving around. So that's something that people went from not having anything, developing on their Nexus 5, and finally deploying it at the end of the contest on your device. It was great. There's another one that was in the Seattle hackathon in which they did some awesomely complicated stuff in a short amount of time. They had a leap motion connected to their PC, connected over a network to the Gear VR, and with that, using their hand motion, kept basketball spinning. And so there's a little game in which you kept doing that and working around. And I was using our framework and all these hackathons, very short amount of time. Great stuff. Also, we've had some examples for people that keep adding little things here and there that people would have an interest to. We have a little sample for how to use the Samsung gamepad. And people ask for that. Also, the bullet physics library. There's a JBullet version of that. A little wrapper on top of the bullet library, so we have a little simple to use that. There's also people interested in augmented reality type of stuff. We do have the camera on the back of the phone, you can use it. Vuforia is a library from Qualcomm, which does, you print out a marker and it will track that marker in free space. And we have a little demo that shows how to use that Vuforia with the VR framework. So, a lot of little progress in just a couple months. Where we're going from now is essentially more stuff. So we're looking to optimize things a whole lot more. We have a lot of expertise. So, what we initially open sourced with was pretty small, pretty raw. Had a lot to do. We still have a lot to do. Right now, we're optimizing things for VR. With VR, you have two cameras. You really have one scene, so you want to optimize things as much as possible to, not do things twice. So we have a lot of things that we're working on for that. We'll eventually use the OVR multi-view extension as well, so that you can issue your draw calls once, but they'll be executed initiators twice. And it's a nice little optimization as well. On the 3D model end, as I mentioned, we use Wasson, which is a third-party library that goes in all these different 3D models. They have a lot of support for a lot of things that we didn't have initially. So when we first open sourced, you could read it in the mesh and know about it. Now we can read it in the mesh, plus this whole hierarchy, the textures associated with it. Wasson has support for all kinds of different shaders with lighting and all your surrounding environment, stuff like that. So in addition to adding that now, that'll be ready the next couple of weeks. Then we'll add their animation support, so if you have some animations built in there, that will go in and add that in as well. And we've also had people asking us for like, I just want to add in a few lights, I want to run it in GLSL. Like, okay. So we'll add that in there, and as we go on, people will want more and more stuff, and we'll try to figure out how best to fit that in and make it easier for people to develop in VR. So as I mentioned earlier, your VR framework is available now. It's open source. We have an Apache 2.0 license, so that means it's both open source friendly as well as commercial friendly. You can ship your product with this. It's great. The GearVR framework, GearVR.org is our website. You can get there and look at our developer guide, subscribe to our mailing list, all that other kind of stuff, kind of the hub of everything. with open source, the way people like to use GitHub is to not chat on mailing lists a whole lot. They just open up issues on GitHub. And so they open up a question on GitHub, we answer it there, and stuff like that. So if you're watching the repository, you'll see all that kind. And I think that pretty much about covers it. So we're going to continue on, and try to make things easier for people. I guess I'll take questions. Start with you.
With a real contribution of the developer and engineer,
Yeah.
you get more other features use.
The question is with the contributions we've had from the third parties, could we bring in pictures and videos? So, yeah, you could do that even before their contributions. They made things a bit more optimal for those kinds of applications. But, you know, we have that sphere scene object, so you can just put yourself inside a sphere, text your map inside that sphere with your photo or your video using the media player, and go in and customize it as you like to try to make things really cool. So I hand over here. Do we support async time work? There is a slide I deleted from this slide deck that had the original slide deck. The GearVR framework is built on top of the Oculus SDK. As such, we have everything that they have. We just do we take care of the hard stuff for you. So by that extension, yes, we have asynchronous time work because we're on top of the Oculus SDK. Other questions?
Alright, thank you, Tom. It's awesome. And we'll have another update from Samsung about developer program from Dustin. Is that true? Right. Awesome. There it is. Sweet. While Dustin sets up, looks like we got a few demos for the people doing demos, and can you please keep it down. Make sure that we respect our presenters. We're almost winding down there. It's almost time. Thanks for bearing with us. Appreciate it. We get things set up. VR questions, please. Anybody? D. What do I think of? The Time magazine cover. I think it's hilarious. I think it's awesome. It's I'm going to tweet Palmer tonight that he is the fashion nightmare. I think that's exactly the tweet you're going to see. So looks like that's been taking good things. Good. All right, so a round of applause.
All right, I'm the last guy up, so hopefully I'm going to be short and sweet. My name's Dustin Wish. Some of you guys know, some of you don't. I'm glad everybody actually came out tonight. So I'm the VR evangelist at Samsung. We actually helped put on this event. Carl's been gracious enough, or we've been gracious enough for the two to actually host this event twice now. So I'm really happy to host the attendance. Gives us a lot of exposure. It exposes the VR marketplace and everybody that's doing some great amazing things out here. Just quickly, we have in the Samsung developer group. Just a couple updates. We actually have a new website, which we actually had our old one taken down. Now we're actually up on a new one, which is Samsung. We're on Samsung.com, actually part of the Samsung Developer Connection portal, so you'll see that on our website. Second is we're actually hosting a B2B event next week. It's a meetup in LA, so look forward to that. If anybody else is actually trying to do any commercial VR applications, we are going to start discussing those now in LA at this event. So first one we're actually doing collaborative with our B2B team. Second is actually, this was just out on Road to VR. There's actually a survey out now for Project Beyond. So we're trying to get some feedback for this. There's been a lot of demand, a lot of people interested in our 360 camera that's actually been in the works. So go out, sign up, provide some feedback, let us know what you think. That's pretty much it. This is how you actually connect us. You actually have Twitter, Facebook, all those social media things. We're going to try to continue on working in VR space, hosting events like this. So I hope you guys continue to come out and be a sponsor, be a big supporter of SVVR as well. That's pretty much it for me.
sweet. That's just about wraps up the presentations there. So we'll do community events or announcements rather. If you have an announcement, if you want to just take a real quick, just come on up. Slop us with the announcements. Let us know what you're doing.
Hello everyone, Adam Bruce from VR Lab. Just want to say thank you to Carl and Bruce and Samsung for being on this event. It's a chance to address everybody. So as you all know, last year, VR Lab has been focusing on problems at the intersection of quick-ring VR and market. And while we were working on those problems, we found some other problems that like there were some key solutions for. We want to share those with you a little bit. So one of the problems that we have is that when we go to these demos, there's a lot of terminals, a lot of work areas, so we decided to try to find a solution for that. We think we have one, but unfortunately, it's professional solutions and the prices are very high. So I would make sure you reach out to everybody, see if anyone else is interested in this. Maybe there's an opportunity for a group buy for us to create some of these that helps everybody. So with that said, this is what I want to show you. It's a portable demo station. And it's hardened, so it gets banged around, or if you want to ship it, if you're traveling internationally or whatever, you don't have to worry about it. It's got hardened steel, it's got bumpers, and most importantly, keyboard, mouse, fully on the spec, runs a 98 GTX. So, we're talking to manufacturers about price points, internal equipment specs, we obviously roll and accessing out, etc. If you're interested, we're starting a dialogue with these talks in Evil Leon, my partner back there. You can just stand out so you can see. And we'll get deeper name down, and we'll include you in this, and we'll continue together.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. Announcements. Brilliant. Oh.
Okay. SVVR.com/jobs. People are posting jobs. Some days we get like 10 jobs. There are a lot of jobs, a lot of people hiring in VR right now. All these great companies, Altspace, River Studios, Living Lab, some of these companies I've not heard of, but they're doing VR, and who knows what they're doing? The Motion Live Light. Check it out, svvr.com/jobs. And if you're hiring, it's a great place to post your job listings.
Very good. This is just up here. Very good. Help support VR camps, just donation. These are for the safe headbands. Yes. Nice. $10 donation support. Go.
So I'm Brian Fuller, I'm the host of Pop VR and co-founder of VRcasters.com. I'm going to be giving an introduction to virtual reality and independent development, game development class in Rockland, California, September 14th. There's sign-ups on the Rockland, California Hacker Lab. If you're interested, drop your email off to me. I'll make sure you get the information.
Excellent. Quick vote.
Hi.
Thank you. Hi. This is Emily. I'm actually coming from the Tech Museum of Innovation, and on August 25th. Oh, Tech Museum of Innovation, not to be confused with the Computer History Museum. We're so much cooler. Shots fired. Whatever. We're having a virtual reality event on August 25th, 6:30 to 9:30. There's going to be food, drinks, fun stuff. So I just wanted to let you guys know we're focusing on virtual reality plus humanity plus you. So basically we're seeing how virtual reality can be used to help humanity. I guess there's a better way of saying that. But it's a really cool event. You can check it out at tech.org/creative collisions. Alright, thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Phillip, and I'm the co-founder of the WebVR group with Tony Parisi. We'll be gearing up for our fall presentations, and if you have any amazing hacks that you're aware of that maybe they're own or you're just aware of otherwise, and off the web, VR over the web, such as this gentleman's company, please let us know. We're at the Meetup group. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everybody. This is Summer from Mixed Hair. Our company do customized design manufacturing. So if you are rejected by other manufacturing company because you only want to produce 100 pieces or 500 pieces, we can help. I have a coworker whose name is Arvin, this gentleman over there. Please feel free to contact us and just give us the detailed requirements. Hopefully we can give back the quotation within 2 days. Thank you guys and have a wonderful evening.
Hello everyone, I'm Titzat. I'm the creative director at Rothenberg Ventures and I'm the co-director of River, the first and only VR AR focused accelerator program. Our next batch is starting in September, so apply now. Go to rothenbergventures.com/river. I'm also the creative director at River Studios. We have our team over in the back and we're creating amazing VR content. And so if you want to work in VR but don't want to start your own startup, then come talk to us. We're looking for developers, creative talent, just people that love VR. But we have some cool stuff to show you. So go see our team in the back. Raise your hand, guys. All right, so remember, Rothenberg Ventures, River Accelerator, and River Studios. Thank you.
Hi, my name is AltspaceVR. I wrote a mobile VR game that made the top 50 adventure game in the US App Store. It's also in the demo. Also a very small open source project to take augmented reality apps and port them over to mobile VR. So I think it was very performance, HoloLens. Anyone wants to demo that or need more information, come find me and I'll explain it.
Hey guys, and just wanted to do a shout out to Boost VC, tried 6 people that are here today. Anyway, my name is Fred Spencer. I'm CEO and founder of SolarVR. And just wanted to mention very quickly, this week we announced that what we're building a purpose-built, platform-agnostic, hosted, real-time analytics platform for digital realities. That includes virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality, anchored by 3 cornerstones. The first is preservation. So we're looking at preserving the entire digital reality experience. We're collecting all data that we can capture from HMDs, external devices, external input devices, things like that. The second anchor is analyze, which is pretty straightforward. We're looking at observing user behavior, context, and nuance. And finally, empathize. We have a feature called Journey, which allows for complete experiential playback in a browser. So what it would be like to take a walk in the user's shoes. And we're calling this platform Ease. And we've opened up to developer signups this week. So head over to ease.com. We're building this specifically for the community. So we're trying to post surveys and things like that. So if you're interested in immersive digital reality analytics, please come down and register. We're looking at October 2015 alpha release through Boost VC. All right, thank you very much. Have a good evening.
All right, and Johnny, got some more equipment? Let's go. Let's go.
We're done. So by the time we see each other next time, VR camp will be said and done. So it's happening in 3 weeks. It's going to be big. I can say we wouldn't be able to do it without the help of NVIDIA. We have secured a valve. It's going to be quiet. It's going to be cool. Tilt brush on the 30-foot screen, flying around. It's pretty cool. So if you guys believe in VR and want to help this make this thing happen, I would hope you pitch in and get a little bandana. There's only 30 of them. But donate $10 or whatever you feel comfortable with. These are kind of one-time things. So that's it. See you on the other side.
Hi everyone, my name is Gavin. And I have one question. What is that VR for? Is it just for gaming or entertainment? Okay. I bring innovation. Hey, watch it out! Watch it out! This is really big thing, watch it out. I bring innovation. So what is the innovation? Exactly. This is the innovation. So what is this? Yeah, just a teddy bear, but please come on, teddy bear. Oh, he's my friend. He's in very fun place. He can watch what this bear sees. The head moving is completely to my feet. Oh, your speed. And he can go, but he cannot speak yet. I know it. So he's in there. Watch that. The white Google Sheet. He's in there. This bear is totally Wi-Fi connection. So you can control this bear from anywhere in the world. If you put this teddy bear in your office, you don't have to go to the office anymore. Yeah. You can come out from your house and you can get that. If your kids cannot get out from the house because of sickness, yeah, just put this bear in your school. Like that. Our mission is beyond the design and bring the soul to it. That's gonna be huge. And if you wanna try, please come to offers. Thank you so much.
Okay, so this is a quick demo. I'm Airbnb, and this is what I'm doing here right now is I input every single program that I have on my Windows desktop into a virtual environment. This will work for basically, it'll work for any game engine or any program that you want. Got protections and all that stuff. So it's not WebGL or WebKit or anything like that. This is mostly for the developers. So I'm running Hearthstone and I'm also using the Chrome do this way. It's kind of nice. Anyway, that's about it. I'm running it back.
All right. Do we have? Come on out real quick and Leap. If you're in the house, I thought Leap had an announcement. I'm not sure. Kate from Leap, are you here? They're not. Here we go. Dave. Oh, Kate's looking at us. Dave, where to go?
If you are a Leap developer, you want to use Leap Community, use photography for possible positions, including into this guy. Also, if you're interested in Cyberith VR and you want to learn the process and nuts and bolts of that, you're looking for an internship or some videos, something like that. Thank you.
Awesome. Dave's been amazing. SVVR knows what we're talking about. See you. Dave.
Thank you. I'm going to announce the second annual 3D Jam. This kicks off November 28th, and we had such a huge success with it last year that we brought back and actually kind of cool. We would have games and anything that you want to do, AR, VR, and there's a whole event category. Sign up now. I've got a pin on your back. And if you don't have the big motion hardware, come purchase it at a discount. Like just listen to the 3D Jam, you're going to be full refunds for about that Sunday. So if you want to do that, also you can find it right here.
Awesome. That's exciting. The Leap project is really cool. And also as our SDK with AltspaceVR, that'll be a viable platform for Leap stuff as well. So, cool. Along that, that wraps up our presentations and announcements. Thank you for being so patient, everyone. In demo time, check out the demos. We have demos until about 10 p.m. At that point, I'll be kicking you out personally. Enjoy it.